Good morning, everybody. So today I wanted to continue with lesson 12, which covers adding interactivity to your web pages and your website. On Tuesday, I covered adding a wow slider, which is not part of the textbook. So before I continue, do either one of you, Michael or Stephanie, do you have a question about the wow slider, where to go to get a free version of the wow slider for the Mac or the PC, and how to create and insert a wow slider into your web page? The one thing that I mentioned, but I don't know that I pointed out on Tuesday, is that it generates two folders that you have to manually upload to your folder with the host that's with the service that's hosting your website. And those two folders you can see right here are the data one and engine one. Remember I said for each wow slider you create, it has to have a different ID number. Well, these two folders are associated with this slideshow. If I created another one, I would have to use a different ID number for that. And then I would have an additional two folders for that slider and so on and so forth. So those are slideshows. Let's go ahead and let's talk about a couple of others that we can deal with. So I'm going to look at the tips finished and we'll show you what that looks like. So in the tips finished, we're using a Bootstrap component. And in this particular case, we're using the accordion. There's also another one that's very similar that's called tabs. And it's just a way, it's a kind of a nice way of condensing content or data, whatever you want to call it, on your website so that you don't really have to scroll so much, and that you just click on the name of the accordion that you've inserted, and here are all the bullet points that we created. And you click it again and it closes, and then you click another one and it opens. And if I click on the home, it automatically closes the other, okay? So there's that one. And then there's also in travel finished, okay? If I hover over each one of these links, notice that the image to the right swaps out with the default Echo Tour image with another image pertaining to the content of the text, okay? This I mentioned on Tuesday is probably one of the oldest ways of generating, I guess, for lack of a better word, kind of a slideshow. And in order to do that, we have to incorporate what are called, let's see if I can find it here, under Windows. It is, yeah, it's grayed out. It's behaviors. And I'll explain why in a minute, why it's grayed out. That you have to, in order to use behaviors, it has to be not in live mode, but you have to be in design mode. So let's start with tips first. So I'm going to go back here. And this is the original tips file that we created. Okay. And you can see that with, it works just fine like this. You just have to scroll a little bit in order to access all the content. But what decided to do here is that we're going to insert if we switch over here to insert, and we look at Bootstrap Components, and we scroll down here, come on, below forms, No, it's above forms. It's accordion right here. So that's what it is. Now, because it's using in this particular version, a more recent version of JavaScript, I had to detach this page from the template that we had created, because the JavaScript that's incorporated is locked up inside the head of the document. So that's something important to remember, and I've already done that. So what I want to do is I'm going to go ahead here and let's click. And right after this opening paragraph here is where I want to insert it. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure that the paragraph tag is activated in the blue form. And now I can go ahead and remember, once it's detached from the template, then I can go ahead and I can click on the accordion. Okay. And it's going to ask me, where do I want to place it? I want it after this paragraph tag. So I click right here. Now it says the component is not fully compatible with a current document. So I'm going to click OK. And there, it's added it. So here we have, by default, we have collapsible group 1, and this is the content for that. And here's collapsible group 2 and 3. And if you want to add more to that, then you simply select it, okay? And you come down here, and you can see that we can, here is the collapsible group 3. And if I select the entire group, the entire panel, let's select the whole div right here. Okay. That we can add more or, fewer of these if we want. And there's the link, there's the target, here's the panel title. Let's go ahead and select this. Come on. Let me switch to from live view to design view. There we go. And it might be a little bit easier to work with. So I'm going to switch here and I'm going to select the accordion. Come on. Make sure that the panel is selected. Sometimes these guys aren't that easy to work with. So I'm clicking inside here. I'm going to make sure that the accordion panel is selected. There we go. And if I go back to, one other step back here, okay, yeah, not selecting as easily as I had hoped. But anyway, let's go ahead and add content to each of these 3 panels. We'll see what we're doing here. And again, it really works better if you work in the design view. So I'm going to click anywhere inside where it says at home. And then I'm going to make sure that I have that unordered list selected. So the entire list is selected. And so what I can do is I can copy it, Command C, and then I can click inside to where it says content for accordion panel 1. And I'll go ahead and I'll highlight that and I'll paste. And notice that it's added that. And now I can come down to the next collapsible group. Okay. So let's go back from design view to live view. Okay, and let's, I'm going to go back up here and I'm going to hide so that that can collapse. And then I can open the next one. Okay, so what I did here is I went up over here to live view options. And I made sure that I hid the live view displays so that I could open and collapse. So now I want I'm going to go ahead and take for the next group and put that in there. So I'll switch from live view to design view. And so that was at home. So let's go back in here. I got to close this group. Let's collapse that. It's not allowing me to collapse, so why not? So I got to go back to live view. See, some of these things aren't as nice as what we would like them to be. So let me go back again. Let me collapse it. Let's open this group. Let's switch to design view, and hopefully the second group will be open, and it's not. So why not? Let's switch up here. That's file management. That's custom toolbar. That's that. I'm having troubles here. So let me go switch back. Let's go back to live view. Yeah, wouldn't you know it? I thought I had it all worked out. So let me go ahead and switch here so that that one is selected. And then I'm going to come back up here and I'm going to go ahead and turn off hide view so that that hopefully locks it in the open position. And now I'll switch back to design view. No, see, it's stuck in the first group. I want the second collapsible group to open. So let me pause my recording for a second here. I'm going to try something a little bit different, and it generally doesn't work from live view because it brings in unnecessary code. But if I come down here from at work and I click inside, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. There we go. Let's come back up here. Turn that off. Let's click inside here. There we go. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to select the entire unordered list. Okay. And I'm going to copy it. But now it's in the edited form. So if I copy from that, and we go back, and then I click inside here, and I highlight in here. Let's see if it will let me paste it. I've had mixed response. Yeah, see, it groups it all together. It's no longer in bullet points, and that's not what I wanted. So I'm going to go ahead and come back here again from at work. And I'm going to make sure that it is highlighted in blue. And I'm going to make sure that I have the whole unordered list selected. And I'm going to copy it from there that way. And I'm going to go back up inside group 2, highlight this so that this is highlighted in blue, not in the orange. In the edit mode and paste. And see, it still does the same thing. That's not what I want. So why I'm having trouble, well, okay. I don't want to duplicate column. I want to go back. I want to leave that open. Let me switch to design view again. Yeah, see, it's not allowing me to collapse it. So these aren't as easy to work as I had, remembered. They're, they have issues. So why it's not allowing me to collapse it, I don't know. So let's switch here. This is collapsible 1. So let's work from the properties panel and let's try collapsible 2 and see if that doesn't allow me to access that. No, it's not allowing me to do it. So, so much for that. So it still needs to be styled. So one of the things that you have to do is that, for example, in the group at the top, we have at home. So I need to select the title up here and highlight it. And yeah, I'm having trouble selecting. So select all, and I'm going to say at home. And my computer is very sluggish at the moment. There we go. So now I've just edited that. I've gotten that to work, but now you need to style it. So there are basically 3 styles that you're going to add to this. So we'd go back to our CSS designer. And if we look at the finished version here, let's look at the tips finished version. If I switch from, make sure that I have green styles selected and global, where this will be found, if I do a search here, it's under panel. And you can see that there are a total of 4 different classes that I'm going to add. Section, panel default, and this is for the heading. And then I will add another one for the heading. Now, this is for, one of these might be for the media query that we've created, since these are the same. Yeah, no, this is for the hover state. And this is for the regular one. This would be for the title, and then this would be for the background. And if I look at each of these and I show the set, you can see what it is. So this light green background here is kind of is used for that. So it'd be section.panel #body hyphen body. And that's how I can change the background color of that. And then to match the background for the heading up here, then that's what I have here. So that's what these 3 do. And also the first one here changes the color of the text. And here's the background color of green, and here's the gradient that we've added for that. So that changes that. And this one does the same thing, that on the hover state, it changes it to white. So that's what you're doing there. So I'm a little frustrated that I'm having trouble selecting parts of this. It's a little annoying. Let me go from the finished version and see if I can't. Go ahead and select and open up this one. And I'm going to switch from live view to design view and see if that doesn't remain open. Yeah, it's doing the same thing. It's just leaving the top one open, and it's making it difficult to open the other collapsed versions down here. So that's that. It was a nice thought. And go ahead and select the whole group. And you have that, and then we can select individual panels, the default. Okay, and here is the heading. Okay, and then you can go ahead and change them. So it was a thought. It works really nicely when you're doing it in a program like MobiRise, where everything is automated for you. But working right now in Dreamweaver, it's a little bit awkward. So let's move on to the next one. Let's go on to the travel. Okay. So again, when we hover over, again, you have to have a default image, and you have to have your text prepared. What you're doing is you're working with a table, and we worked extensively with tables before. If I look at this in design view, you can see the table a little bit more clearly. Okay, so, and if I come in here and I select the table, and I look at the properties panel, I can see that I have 5 rows and 2 columns. So one column will be used for this vertical image, and then the other column to the left will be used. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4 cells for each of these hover states that swaps out the image to the right. All of the images that you use have to be exactly the same size in order for this to work. The top row was collapsed into a single row. So instead of using 2 columns, it's collapsed into a single row to add the content up here. Okay, so that's not difficult to do. So let's go back to the travel start here, and they're providing the content for you. But a couple of things that we have to do first is one is that I have to assign to this image an ID. So I'm going to name it Echo Tour, which is what the textbook recommends. And you have to apply the same rules that we've used before in naming files, that you cannot start with a capital letter, you cannot use spaces, you cannot use special characters. So I'm going to type in here Echo Tour. Okay, so I've named this Echo Tour, which distinguishes it from anything else. Let me go ahead and do that again because it didn't take. There we go. And you can see that, I mean, I guess I could have added it up here too. Add the Octothorpe hashtag, whatever you want to call it, and name it Echo Tour. But you can also create the ID from the properties panel as well. Now what I need to do is I need to take each one of these, okay? And this is an H3 tag. And I'm going to highlight that, okay? And I'm going to add the default or the placeholder for a link, which is a hashtag, okay? And then I'm going to go to the Paris, and notice that we've already in previous lessons set up the styling for an H3 tag. And so I'll go ahead and I'll select Paris Underground, and I'll highlight that. And again, as a placeholder to make it useful as a link, I'm going to put the Octothorpe hashtag there. And notice that it turns green. And I'll take the next one for the same dinner cruise, and I'll highlight it. I'm just going to go through the steps of all of these here. And again, I'm going to go ahead and hold in the link. I'm going to go ahead and add the Octothorpe, hit the return key so that that's added. And then the last one is the Champs-Élysées. So now all of these are these bits of text or placeholders for the hover state, so that when I hover over each one of them, it will begin, I can swap out the image to the right for another image. So let me go ahead and make sure that this is highlighted again. Yeah, computer's awfully sluggish. I don't know why. There we go. So now these are ready to go. Now what I need to do is I need to go to Window, and what I want to do is I want to use behaviors, but notice that it's grayed out. So the only way that you can use behaviors these days is you have to switch from Live View to Design View. So I'm going to switch back, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to highlight again Echo or Tour Eiffel. And what I want to do is I want to apply a behavior that will, when I hover over the word Tour Eiffel, it will swap out this image with the other image. So to do that, now I can go that I'm in Design View. I can go to Window, and notice that behaviors is no longer grayed out. So I can bring that up. And what I want to add now is with this little plus sign here, I want to add swap image. Okay. So what I need to do is I need to cancel, or not cancel, sorry. Notice that we have other images on our page. And by assigning an ID to this, I know which one is the correct image. That's the one that I assigned the Echo Tour ID. So when I hover over the Tour Eiffel, I want to take this Echo Tour image and I want to swap it out with another image. So now I have to browse in my root folder, and I'm going to go not into, yeah, I guess I can go into images here. So this is, I got to find the right one. So this is the Eiffel Tower. So I believe this is the one that we want. So we're going, yeah, Eiffel Tower Tour. So I'm going to go ahead and open it up. Okay, and when I click OK, it's going to swap. When I hover over the Tour Eiffel, it will swap the Echo Tour image out and put in the one of the Eiffel Tower, and I click OK. Now, to test this, and I would, after doing this for each one of these, I would test. So I go from Design View back to Live View. Now let's scroll down and let's see if it works. And I hover over that. And right now nothing's working because I need to go back here and I need to hide Live View displays. And now when I hover over it, notice that it swaps it out. And I have an issue here. Notice that when I hover back out, it's not swapping it back. So I need to use swap restore to make sure that that works. So let's go back out and let's go ahead and correct that. Let's switch from Live View to Design View. And I'm going to go ahead and highlight this where it says Tour. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead. Notice this is on mouse over, it's swapped, but I don't have it to restore it. So that's important. I'm going to go ahead and remove that. And let's go ahead and try that again. And we'll use a slightly different. I have a little, I don't know what that is. I'm going to get rid of that little piece of text there. Well, I'll just highlight all of that. There we go. Let's go ahead and add that again. So this time I'm going to use not just swap image, but I want swap image restore. Okay, this restores the last set of swapped images. So I'm going to go ahead and select that, but that's not right either. So I'm going to remove that. So it should have been, when I selected swap image, it should also done the restore as well, because it says restore image on mouse out. That should have been automatic, and it didn't do it. So that's why you need to test. So here's the Eiffel Tower. We'll go ahead and select that. So make sure that restore image on mouse out is selected, and it should automatically add that, which it did this time. Why it didn't do that the last time, I don't know. But, good practice to test every time. So let's go back to Live View. Let's scroll down. I'll try it. And let's go ahead and let's hide Live View options, and let's try again. There we go. Now it's working. So now when I hover over Tour Eiffel, it swaps out. And when I move the mouse out, it restores it. And that's what you want. So now we need to do that for each one of these. Okay. So to do that, I need to switch from Live View back to Design View. And I need to go back and highlight Paris Underground. And notice that I don't have any behaviors assigned to this yet. So I need to click here and I need to go ahead and I need to swap image, make sure that swap image restore on mouse out is selected. Make sure that echo tour, the ID echo tour is the one that's selected. Click to browse, and now I need to find the one for the underground. Okay, so let's find the underground JPEG. That's the one that I want. And notice, again, I repeat, all of these images are identical in size. Now I'm going to bypass testing them, which is probably not such a good idea, but I'm going to go ahead and go through all of these anyway. And let's go ahead and add that again. So this one is the dinner cruise. I will go ahead and click the plus, and I want swap image again. Echo tour for the dinner cruise. So where's our dinner cruise in here? I don't see, oh, here it is, the cruise JPEG. That's it. Again, so it's going to take that image and swap it. And then the Champs-Élysées, that's the last one. So I'll highlight that, and then we'll test them all to see if they work. So I highlight the text that the area to which I added the little octathorpe to turn it into text that can be used as a link. And I can use the swap image restore here. And now I'm going to take here Champs-Élysées and find it. There's the Champs image, and I will select that. And again, make sure it's all working. And I'm good to go. So now I can switch back from design view. I'll go ahead and I'll close behaviors because they're not available in live view anyway, and I'll switch and we'll test and we'll see if they all work. So it's a relatively easy and way of creating a little slideshow. Using behaviors like this has been around since almost the beginning of web design. And notice that these are all working really pretty nice. It's a little bit sluggish, but when it's loaded in a browser, it will be just fine. Okay. You want to make sure with each of them that when you hover over it, it swaps. And when you move out, it swaps back. Okay. So those are two additional ways now of adding interactivity. The one that I'm still a little bit baffled with at the moment is the tips. You know, why, you know, I'm forgetting something, I suppose, that why the collapsible panel down here isn't opening up. So let me try it again before we finish today. See if I can't get that to work. So I'm going to click here, hopefully open it. So there's the content here. Okay, so this would be for, we have at home, and collapsible group 2 is what? That's at work. So let's go ahead and name each of these. I got to turn that off. There we go. So let's hide that. So this is at work. And collapsible group 3 is in the community. See, they've conveniently used the 3 that are available for us. So let's click in here. Highlight the text so that, you know, the little box highlighted in orange allows me to edit it. And in the community. So I know which one goes where. So I'm going to go ahead again and I'm going to turn off hide live view options to try to open this up. Okay. So it closes at home. Highlight all of this. And let's switch back to design view and see if what it does. Yeah, see, it's going back to the home. It's not opening this section up. So, what do we have here? Let me pause one more time. So when in doubt, when I'm having trouble like this, let's go to the work, and I'm going to do it from code view. So here's at work. Okay, so that's the collapsible 2.1. It says at work. And then there's the panel. Let's go and see if we can't find the content. Content for panel 3. That's the panel body. That's the class. There's the content. So let me see if I can't put it in here. Let me go back to live view. Let's scroll down and let's click inside here and select the whole unordered list. So I'm doing it from code view. Okay, so this is at work. So I'm going to go ahead and copy it from here in code view. And then, you know, when in doubt, if it's not working the way it's supposed to, then maybe what we can do is we can now come in here and I can click. And there is the collapsible 2. That's for the head. Panel default. No, it's not working for me. Well, here it says content for panel 2. I'm going to run the risk. That's body panel. And it says content for accordion panel 2. So I'm going to go ahead and paste that and see what happens. Now I'm going to go back to live view. And if it doesn't work, I'll just undo it. So there's at home. So I'll close that. And then at work. So there you go. It worked by putting it in code view. Now when I click that, that closes that. So now I can do in the community. So one of the frustrations of many of frustrations of working in web design is that, you know, when you're working in Dreamweaver or any other HTML editing program, they don't always work as efficiently or as smoothly as they're supposed to. So I'm going to do the last one. Let's go ahead and try that again. So I'm going to take this kind of other, you know, root and get it to work. Click somewhere, anywhere inside here, and then in the code view, Okay, I want to make sure that I select the whole unordered list. And then, and this is in code view, Command C for copy. Then I'm going to go back to design view. And then I'm going to click where it says in the community, so I know where that can be found. And then what I want to do is that where it says, this is the div ID collapse 3.1. So this is the third unit in the community. Okay. So what I want is the content right here, content for accordion panel 3. So this is where that content goes, right here. So it's telling me that's where it goes. And now I can go ahead and I can paste it in there. And then go back and test it. And if it doesn't work, then hit Command Z to undo and try again, try a workaround. So let's go back to live view. And there we go. Let me just look at this entirely in live view. And then the last thing will be for us to, I don't want split view at the moment. And I'm going to click here in the community. And so now that works. So the last thing, as I said, would be to go back. And if you want, there are 4 selectors that we need to create using CSS to style this. If you're happy with the grayscale and you want kind of a generic look, then you're done. In this particular instance, though, for this exercise, they want us to make the heading and the text and everything match the styles that we've already created for this website. So to do that, let's look at the finished one again so you can see. I'm going to switch back from design view to live view. And again, this is for the panel. So define which ones control the tab here and the color of the text and the hover state and that sort of thing. If I could go ahead and just copy from here, but I'm going to do a search and put in panel because that's what that is. And you can see that I have 4 section, panel default, and this is the heading. And I have another one for heading, which is the hover state. And then I have a third one here, which is for focus. And then the body one, which is for the background here. And once you have added those styles, then you're good to go. Again, a little bit sluggish, not altogether working the way I had planned, but I was able to find without too much muss or fuss, thinking about it on the fly here is an alternate way of adding the content to it. And then when you're all done, I mean, I could go back to the tips here, and then I can take all of these and I could just go ahead and I can delete each of these sections and get rid of them. And then I'm set to go. And then I've taken a large amount of text and I've condensed it into a nice workable format so you don't have to scroll so much, either on a long screen or a small tablet, whichever. So there are 3 different ways of adding interactivity. The first one that we covered was the wow slider. We did that on Tuesday, and that's one of my favorites. I still like it a lot. And there's a lot of different sizes that you can choose from, and their templates. You can also, they have a lot of different templates. As I expressed my opinion on Tuesday, I like the simpler, the more simple approach, not the ones that are really fancy and over the top. They're designed so it showcases the image. You can create custom sizes as you wish. If you want it to fit the entire width or almost an entire page, you can do that. I don't find it necessary right now. And then the other form of interactivity that we chose was adding a Bootstrap template, and this is the accordion. Okay. And that proved to be a little challenging for us. take the content and place it inside where it's supposed to be. Styling it isn't such a big deal. Okay. And then the last one is using behaviors. So going to the travel finished, and we switch from design view to live view. Okay, and I scroll down. That taking a little piece of text and using behaviors to, on the hover state, to swap the image out to the right, and then on the mouse out for it to restore the image. Again, you have to remember a couple of things. In order to build this, you have to use a table. In this particular instance, it was 5 rows, 2 columns. The other thing is that you have to prepare the images in advance. Although those images have to be exactly the same size for it to work. Okay. And then the third thing is, in order to apply these behaviors, you can't do it in live view. It has to be done in design view in order to bring up the behavior panel. And that's it. Any questions today about any one of these or anything else for that matter? Got a few people I want to add here. So yeah, we're pretty much done for today. Next week, I'm gonna, everybody should be working on your final Dreamweaver website and finishing and publishing lesson 11 when you've completed that. You don't have to include lesson 12, although I would like you to do it. But you should be also working on your Dreamweaver website. And after today, we have only 3 weeks left in the semester. And then we are done. So if you feel you're falling behind a little bit, then work hard to catch up. If you have turned something in and have not received a grade, please let me know. I've tried to respond to everyone's emails and to assign grades when I receive your posted link. And that's pretty much it. No questions? We're all good? No? No? Okay. I think that's it. Oh, I said next week I'm going to cover adding forms. So it will be a very brief lecture on how to add your own contact page. Also, if you guys want to add, there's a few other things that we can add. If I come down here and let's go to my pages here. Favicons, does everybody know what a favicon is? They're the little, when you look up in the tabs here, you see these little icons or these little next to the name of the website. And if you look at mine right here, you can see that I have one there and I have one here. We will cover that, how to do that. So under Web Tools, I have a Favicon Generator, okay? And there are a number of them that are available for you to download. And then you have to just create an image and go through the motions and then, follow its instructions online. And then once you download the images, you put them in your root folder and your image folder, and then they'll come up, they'll pop up. So that'll be something else that we cover. A couple of other things to make, in the remaining weeks to make your website compatible for people with disabilities. For example, it's important that your website have, the text in particular, have a good amount of contrast between the value of the text and the background. There is a website that will help you figure that out. Another is if for people with who are colorblind. You can also look at your images and check them out to see what they're going to look like for people with different types of color blindness. So there's all kinds of tools that are available for you here. And I have most of them over here listed. So here's the Favicon Generator. For those of you using Firefox, I don't know if this link works anymore, but for Firefox add-ons, Juicy Studio is one for the contrast. The Cold Blender is the one for people with color blindness. So there's a bunch of them that we'll be covering that are sort of icing on the cake. Little things that, you know, over time you should consider addressing when you're designing your website to make sure that it's compatible for everyone. And again, I can't emphasize enough when you add images to make sure that you add alt tags for those, so that, you know, people who are blind, they will not have images turned on, but instead it will show that, oh, there's an image here of a 3D, you know, robot, and that sort of thing for them, so they'll know what they're missing. So that's pretty much it for today. This will be posted in another hour or so. Again, I asked any questions, and then that will be it for today. Okay. No? Okay. Then I will see everybody. Say goodbye. I'll pause my recording. You guys are free to leave and have a good weekend. I will see everybody next week. Okay. Bye-bye.